So welcome to another episode of cybersecurity learnings. And these learnings come from somebody else's bad experience. So we hope that this turns into a good experience for you.
A good learning for you.
A good learning for you, yes. Rohit, from what I can see in our notes, you have a very good topic today. So
Let's kickstart. Let's
Yes.
kickstart this story. So this is not something very new, unique, but a lot of people fall for this. Can a wrong command of Git, which you check out the code from your repository to your production environment and stuff, cause serious breach?
a security breach.
Serious security breach.
So this is basically something to do with DevOps and security.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll take you through the story. There's this company has a pretty decent setup, a lot of servers on AWS, and they have a build process, and they use Git as a source code repository, just like everyone else. I hardly know if anybody is still using SVN or CVS as their source code repository.
SVN CVS is really...
It is almost dead, right? But yeah, just like SVN CVS of yesteryears, Git is what is most popular today, and people use it. So what happens is the Git has a secret folder or a hidden folder called as .git. .git directory.
Right.
.git directory keeps metadata and a lot of interesting information about the source code which you have. Fine.
The project repo.
Now, as a habit, a developer goes ahead and does git clones the complete code onto their machine, and then work, pull, push, all typical git commands. While you're doing a git clone, the .git directory also get copied.
Correct.
In this particular cases, and a lot of cases, the habit is do a git clone and build it and upload it onto the production server without knowing that you are also uploading the .git directory.
Correct.
Now with .git directory going online, what's the harm? There are interesting tools called as git dumper and git rebuilder. There are a lot of such tools which would scan your .git directory and identify the code, the metadata, and at times keys to your storage like S3 bucket or Azure blob storage or any other API key and stuff.
So what does this Git folder exactly contain?
It has a lot of metadata about your code history, the way you have written the code, all of that information.
Ownership rights and all those.
So general...
Any secret keys also?
Yes, it generally records that, okay, whatever is maintained. And what has happened in this case, the secret key get leaks out. So an attacker, they now have ready-made scanners to go online and scroll website and find .git directory available or not. Just do a query to .git. If you get 200 OK, that means it is available.
Folders there, yeah.
Or 404, that was the max you would get.
Correct.
They download the .git using .git dumper, and it analyzes you and gives you everything. This, in a very interesting case, opened up the secrets of their S3 and other Amazon credentials.
Okay.
Using that, the attacker came in.
Interesting.
Got access to rest of the information. One of the S3 bucket also had backup of some code and some repositories as an archive file.
Okay.
Opens up that and opens up another Pandora's box set of secrets inside that particular
S3
system.
bucket had some other backup. So backup can be anything.
It could be anything. It could be backup of a developer's laptop as well. It could be anything.
And that,
yeah, but in this case,
which is even worse because the developer's laptop can contain other information as well over there.
Could be.
Yeah.
So basically, a lot of other secrets got leaked out there.
Right.
The attacker picked them up and subsequently copied 8 terabytes of data from this.
That is a lot of information.
This includes photocopies or other images of Aadhaar card, PAN card, other identification information, and a lot of stuff.
So that is not just data breach. Now it is going into the PII realm.
And now it is a national level data breach. Just by one mistake, leaving out the .git directory out there.
Well, it's not a laughing matter, but...
So, and it is not new. People have identified these issues in past, reported. The only problem here was the developers, the DevOps team, the DevSecOps team, so to say, did not knew how to do a analysis, how to actually look at it, and if there is a dot get
So this
directory,
is not a security as such issue.
it's a security.
It's a security issue, yes, as a result. But technical level pay, it's more a case of not having the right process in place.
It's a process issue for
Correct.
sure. And in this process, and I would say, along with the process, it's an awareness issue as well. The developer did not knew, the build manager did not knew that this could be an issue, and it could have been identified.
They just, maybe the build manager also has been a developer in his past life and continue the same process over time as a matter of habit.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, and no one's to blame as such here. But
correct. But yeah, once you are aware about this, it will take care of these kind of issues coming up, which can cause saving you from a shame of 8 terabyte data breach.
So is there like a checklist or something we can, has this been included in any Git build process checklist?
I'm not sure if they had it or not. I don't think they
as part of best practices.
It should be part of the best practices documentation.
Right.
Yeah.
So this basically is more a case of a build, push kind of issue.
The way the developer and the team is habituated of copying the code from the test environment to promote the code from the test environment to the production environment.
What about VAPT on the production?
Oh, interesting. You know what? They had done VAPT assessment.
And then how will this Git folder didn't show up in the VAPT?
They just asked someone to do VAPT. I don't know what that person did. And I'm sure after this, if the person has not been able to identify a .git directory being available on the system, this
being publicly
available on the production system,
yeah,
I'm sure there are other vulnerabilities as well which they have not identified. So it's just a shabby job which they have done.
So in this case, it is. Do you think it's recommended to carry out a VAPT by multiple vendors? Just to prove a point?
Yeah,
just to prove a point?
It's an interesting thought process. So, and we have recommended it to a few of our clients as well who have critical assets.
Correct.
That have different vendors at your different cycles to do assessment. And let all the vendors know that you are not the only one who's doing assessment.
Correct.
So it leaves them with a feeling that, okay, if I do not do a good job
and somebody else catches it,
which is available since long,
that's a problem.
Then my contract may not get renewed, right, which is possible. And it's a good idea if you have such a kind of critical system.
It's just a matter of creating that healthy or maybe unhealthy competition story.
The thing which is required here is also to have a right process in your development to check in, to build, to push the whole release management process.
So bottom line of the story is that when you promote code from, say, testing to production, ideally do not do a clone.
Don't do a clone directly.
What do you do?
Right? Just whatever is the final executable code. Even if you go handpick those directories and put, it is fine. At least you know.
What if it is automated process?
In your automated process, have these checks whether you are controlling it or not.
Okay.
Whether you are aware of each bit of file which is going onto your production server. You have a .htaccess file. You know why the htaccess file is right. It's for the rights management and controls and other stuff.
Correct.
You have a .well_known subdirectory. Yeah, you know well-known is used for security.txt, your SSL, TLS, handshake exchange files. A lot of such content is there.
Right.
Know what you are pushing onto the production server, because if you do not know, the attacker would know and they will use it against you.
True.
So this reminds me of a very interesting conversation by Rob Joyce. He was head of the TAO unit of US intelligence, tailored access operation, where their actual role was to break into companies and get access. Rob Joyce in 2016 Usenix Enigma conference, if I remember correctly, he said, know your infrastructure properly and protect it, because even if you know or do not know, we know.
True.
So I know all the nitty-gritties, so I can actually break into that.
Correct.
So that's what even the best of the best have said. You should know your each and every file going onto your server to protect it.
So basically, it's not just the .git folder as well. From the learning from this is, so the bottom line here is not just the .git folder. The issue here, today's topic is .git folder, but it's also possible sometimes that you make these temp files that will link into your code just so you don't want to hard code some kind of access key somewhere, and that file also gets promoted into a public folder,
into a production system. Right. I'll tell you one very common mistake I have seen people doing. they have backup of the all source code
in the same folder,
in an archive file
correct.
into the same folder.
Correct.
So if you access, suppose let's take an example for PHP file. If you access a PHP file via the web browser, you will get it executed, interpreted, and finalized.
Right.
You don't get the code.
Right.
But if it is in an archive mode, you get the archive file and then you have the whole directory with
And
it.
very often this happens in, see, a normal website project, right? JS folder, HTML folder, CSS folder, there will be an archive folder
or a back
folder. So
back folder or
something
backup folder.
backup
So
folder.
these keywords
Something
are
like
very common.
Right.
The web security experts actually find out these
Right.
and then dump data from it. And God forbid if you have directory listing available on that system,
Right.
a lot can go out. You will have no clue how this whole thing
Simple thing, right? Remove the .php file and just go to the directory. Let's finished.
No, one up. Yeah.
One
so
up.
there are these methods by which the security experts and hackers break into system and try to identify these.
So currently we have digressed from the whole .git issue.
We love digressing.
Yeah, but the point is that if you want to save yourself from any kind of secrets leakage, make sure that you know every file that's going out into the production server. Even on the testing server, because testing is considered or QA testing is considered as good as production, but with a lower.
Very good point, Alok. The point is, in many of the cases of at least these web-facing large companies,
large or small, whatever,
whichever say, the web-facing company, they leave their test server also on a different domain, subdomain, absolutely different, but they leave it out so that the set of their testers can test it from outside like a real user.
You know when this happens, especially in cases of outsourced development, where the development agency, so you're a company here, you have outsourced certain development to that firm over there. So that firm has this kind of setup where the testing also is outside.
And they leave it onto their server and give you the link, sir, go and onto test server, have a look.
Because your developers.
I know where you're coming from, the interesting client we had. I remember where it is coming from. But yeah, so basically a developer is a third-party company.
Right.
He uploads the test code on a test server.
Right.
And sends a link to the parent company. He said, sir, the code is right. Please check. If it is fine, we will push it to production.
Correct.
Now this test server, so to say, is as good as production
server. Exactly. It's
any vulnerability identified there can be replicated onto the production server very, very well. And yes, so basically whatever is public facing, have your proper security controls on top of that. Don't feel that, okay, my web application firewall will come only on the production system and not on the test system.
That's not possible. If it is public facing, it is public facing.
It is public facing.
The label doesn't matter. Is it addressable over the internet? Yes. Period.
So that's where we are. So that's what my story is, and I hope developer friends of us and even the CISO friends of ours, they take care of this, or they take a notice of this and identify whether this kind of a vulnerability exists in their system or not.
So we hope this learning will prove useful to you within your cybersecurity development lifecycle. Cheers.